Good morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order. And just remind everybody, our meetings are now recorded. So please turn on your mic when you're speaking. And we'll get down to number 2, the agenda. Any additions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Darren.
That the agenda be adopted as presented.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. And the agenda was sent out in the package and is in front of us here now. So looking for any declaration of conflict of interest. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. The meeting minutes from September 23rd, the draft meeting minutes, they were in our package. Any amendments to the minutes from September 23rd? Long time ago already. Okay, looking for motion to adopt the minutes as presented. Stephen.
That the minutes of the regular meeting held on September 23rd, 2025 be approved as circulated and presented.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And we have the draft public hearing minutes from September 23rd. There was lots of those. Any questions, amendments on the minutes from the public hearings? Motion, Tim?
That's minutes of the public hearing meeting held on September 23rd, 2025 be approved, circulated, and presented.
Thank you. Questions, discussion on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And Sarah, we're already down to you for the list of accounts.
So check 5563 to Darien Farms. This is for a gopher control rebate. I'll just note that the 50% SARM rebate, we waited until the funds were received by the RM and now we're just remitting them to the ratepayer. We had payment of the municipal grants outside the sponsorship policy that were approved at the September 23rd meeting. Check 5575 to Southern Asphalt. This was for various road and pathway paving projects that were within their respective budgets. Check 5577 for Wascana Conservation and Development. We had the largest remittance of the education property tax, hail, and C&D of the year in September. Due to the highest payment discount, we collect the most payments typically in September. Down in the EFT section, I'll just note that this is reissuing some of the check payments that were stuck in the mail due to the postal strike. So we reissued as EFT for a couple payments that were a rush. Then in the other payment section, other payment 290 to Canada Post. This is our annual renewal fee for our business reply mail. As I mentioned, other payment 295 to Minister of Finance. This is the education property tax collection. So this is our largest payment to them of the year. And then in the proposed EFT payment section, we have proposed payment to 1013660 BC Unlimited. This is a performance security release as all servicing agreement requirements have been met. We have our annual software fees to Catalyst for the website, Q Alert, and the meeting management software. Payment to Flowpoint Environmental Systems. We had a keypad issue at the fill station, so this is a repair for that. Payment to GFL for the Household Hazardous Waste Day. I'll just note that we're awaiting the product care rebate pending for eligible remittances. We have our annual Voyant subscription, which is paid to IceSoft. And then we have our annual seasonal flushing fees paid to Roto-Rooter. And the Saskatchewan Municipal Hail, our September 2025 collections, once again, are the biggest of the year. And then on the visa report, I'll just point out that we have a couple annual membership fees. So we have our SWWA, the wastewater and water annual subscription, our SEPA payment, and our 1Password.
Questions for Sarah?
If you can go back to those payments to Seahawk. Can you tell me what they were and where we are in the budget with that stuff?
Yeah, so that the first payment or the first invoice on there is fire protective clothing. I can look at the invoice if you want to know the exact items, but there was 22,000 budgeted for this year for protective clothing and none had been spent to date. So that's within that budget. And then the second is for the fire service evaluation. So we are paying upfront for the 3 municipalities. And then once we receive the grant funding back, we'll invoice out to the other 2 municipalities for their portion.
So related to that, Sarah, fire protective clothing, are those the turnouts? Okay, perfect. And then a second question I have, and this one is for Clark. We've got the Bridlewood Road 10% holdback. I assume now that we're happy with everything?
Yeah, for sure. That's just part of the lien fund act. So it's just a 10% holdback that we keep until everything is cleared from WCB.
And on the Seahawk invoice, it is 4 sets of the turnout gear.
Other questions for Sarah on the list of accounts? Yeah. Looking for a motion to accept the list of accounts as presented. Looking for a motion to accept the list of accounts. Carmen.
That the list of accounts consisting of check 5553 to 5584, EFT payments 386 to 393, other payments 282 to 311, credit card payments 24 to 25, and proposed EFT payments totaling $5,460,738.12 plus September 7 to 2025 payroll totaling $57,553.24. And September 21st to October 4th, 2025 payroll totaling $57,536.07 be approved for payment.
Thank you. Sarah, what are we doing with the checks? Are people picking them up or?
Yeah, any new checks we're holding at the office for now for pickup. There is rotating strike, so if we absolutely have to mail something, it'll be like a delay, but we can mail it at this point, but we're trying to get pickup just to avoid those delays.
Thank you. Other questions on the motion?
Yes, I have one for the 5561, which is the Buckingham investigation checks that came up. I think that that's ridiculous that there's that much more to be paid on this. I don't understand why all of a sudden there's more to be paid. If somebody can explain that to me.
Yeah, I'll try and explain it for you. This isn't additional work. This is work that was done in December and January as part of the investigation, and those invoices just didn't make it to the office. So it was a late payment.
Okay. I don't know. I was reading, and I don't think that the investigation was done properly. So I don't think that it should be paid.
Okay, Darren, that's out of order. We're not talking about the investigation right now. We're just talking about the invoice.
So if it's to pay them more money for something that they didn't do, I don't think it should be paid.
Well, okay, that's fine, that opinion. However, we're not getting into the investigation now.
Okay, so I can't say what I wanted to say about.
If you would like to make a motion, you can put a motion on the table of not paying it, and then it gets voted on.
I'd like to make a motion that this should not be paid under the circumstances that they didn't do it properly.
Okay, questions on the motion? Questions? We'll call the.
Sorry, just one
Oh, sorry.
second. We didn't vote on Carmen's motion.
Oh,
there's
sorry,
already a
right,
motion on the
yeah.
table. You can make an amend the motion that you can amend the motion to say that check 5561 not, or yeah, check 5561 not be submitted. I don't know what that means from a legal perspective. However, I haven't talked to our legal counsel on this, on what that would put us in for like for our standing with a service provider. But just keep that in mind.
You know, I'd like to amend it that we do not pay this bill under the circumstances that they didn't do the investigation properly surrounding the complaints and evidence that shall not be, that was not included in any of. What's your problem? What's the matter?
I don't agree with you.
Okay, I was talking.
Sorry. Questions on the motion? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is lost. So, Carmen, would you?
That was the
Clarity.
amendment to the
amended
motion.
Okay.
It was the
Yeah.
amendment to the motion. So now the original motion will be considered. Carmen's original motion will be considered.
And she does not have to read the motion again, or
Nope.
no? Okay,
Thank you. That was a lot
Okay.
of numbers.
confusing. All right, any questions on the original motion and additional questions? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, down to the financial officer report.
I'll just do the bank reconciliations for September
sorry.
quickly first. So no unusual reconciling items, just the typical outstanding deposits and checks. I will just note on the outstanding check listing, there are a couple that have been outstanding here for a few months. The first one is the Mazer Group. We have a credit on account with Mazer Group from a return, so they've not put through this payment yet, since we haven't had any invoices since then. And then the Auto Electric one, this was one of the checks that was reversed as stuck in the mail and was paid by EFT in October.
Thank you. Motion to accept the the financial officer report for the bank reconciliation, sorry.
That
Step
the,
ahead. Karen,
that the September 2025 bank reconciliations be acknowledged as presented.
questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
Okay, now I'll carry on with my financial officer report for September. So the goal of this report is just to provide a brief overview of the financial activities that occurred during the month of September, along with a snapshot of the financial position as of the end of the month. So just an update on where we are with our municipal taxes collected to date. 67% of our municipal taxes were collected as of the end of September. This is slightly below the 5-year average collections for the end of September of 71% for 2021 to 25. On the statement of financial activity side, I'll start with revenue. Some highlights for revenue. We had municipal taxes levied in August decreased by $236,000 in September due to a combination of levy adjustments, our abatements, exemptions, and early payment discounts. Our Q3 utility notices were billed totaling $434,000. We received installment 2 of the Canada Community Building Fund, or formerly gas tax grant, for $141,000. We received grants in lieu of taxes of $60,000, and there was cash interest on our cash and investments of $20,000. On the expense side, we paid the down payment on the fire service evaluation PSSI project for $32,000. We paid contract gravel hauling fees of $116,000. Our engineering work on the Aspen Village drainage project of $25,000. Bridlewood road improvements of $218,000, and a phase 2 money call for the wastewater of $647,000. We didn't have any new accounts that went over budget during September, and overall our budget overages are less than 1% of the total budget. The equipment and machinery repairs totaled 223,000 approximately out of 284,000 of budget. So that's about 79% of total budget, which is slightly above expectations for 9 months of the year of 75%. And then on the financial position side, we have a healthy cash balance as of the end of September that's expected to adequately cover our operating and capital expenses for the remainder of the year. Our taxes receivable decreased significantly due to the collection of 55% of the municipal taxes since the end of August, and our utility receivable and other accounts receivable increased due to that Q3 utility billing. So we're looking for a motion to acknowledge the statement of financial activities and position.
Looking for a motion, and we can ask Sarah some questions.
And we acknowledge the statement of financial activities and statement of financial position for September 2025 as circulated and presented.
Thank you, Tim. Discussion on the motion?
Just a question I have for you, Sarah. When I look at the percentage of levies collected, what was different in September of 2022 that the number was so high? Do you know?
No, I don't believe there was any change in 2022. I know 2020, there was with COVID, there had been a reduction in the mill rate. So, but other than that, there hasn't been any changes.
Sarah, I've got a question. That check we wrote to for the school portion, the $4 million. So do we pay all of our school portion even prior to collecting taxes?
No, so that's just remittances for what we've actually collected during the month. And so we don't remit it until we actually have the cash for those education property tax.
So that 4 million's actually
what's been collected. So there will be more to remit the next several months
in
as
September. That was actually school tax.
That was actually what we collected for school tax. Yeah.
Okay.
And just a note, they have like an online payment portal. So we're not writing a check or doing an EFT for that one. We pay directly through the ministry's website.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Okay, no questions. So all in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, I believe we're down to Clark, your engineering and public works report.
Thank you. Good morning, Council. I'll start with the biweekly report from Public Works. So just a few highlights. In the rural, we're on track to finish mowing next week, so it'll be full cut everywhere throughout the RM. Still continuing to grade gravel and dirt roads with 3 of our graders. We still have 1 in the shop with John Deere. Good news update, John Deere is going to be covering 50% of the parts of the repair on that engine, so that'll make it a lot more economical for the engine repair on that one.
Do you have any idea what percentage is parts and labor?
I don't have that breakdown in front of me. No. Civic addressing. So contractor has now completed his portion of the contract. He did 712 signs. Original contract was for 700. So he dropped off all of the remaining hardware signs and everything that he had in his possession. There's still about 90 signs to go. So we still, and that's just from missed ones and ones that have come up since we've started the program. And they're going to continue as we move forward, but we're going to be bringing a report to next council meeting on how to finish off those remaining 90, making sure that everyone who doesn't have them is communicated with this fall so that they know what the plan is, and then look to finish that off kind of over the fall, winter, and then into next spring. Last, I don't know how many people know, but we have a dam in the RM, Fallman Dam. So we've opened that up last week and just continue to kind of release that slowly. It's in the southeast portion of the RM. So we're just monitoring that just to make sure there's no damage from that. In the urban, we're kind of continuing with the fall close up. So 95%, almost all of our crack sealing's done now. We did our final mowing cut in Emerald Park and blew out all the sprinklers, flower pots put away, and the Kuzmic bathroom is closed. So just kind of shaping everything up. Our yard waste bins are still at the end of the road here, but they are going to be taken away after October 16th, unless we want to extend that date. It was brought up at the White City Emerald Park Business Association meeting that they thought it would be helpful to keep them maybe past this weekend. So that's something that we might take a look at.
We can have a discussion on that after you're done your report.
Yeah, sure. And then for water and sewer, we completed our water main flushing over the last couple of weeks, so that's done now. And that's kind of most of the major activities.
I got a call from my brother-in-law out by Chrono there. He wanted me to bring to the council if they could open up the dam to fill up his dugout. So he phoned me back later in the day and he says it's here already. So tell him thank you. Yeah, he's dependent on his dugout for house water and everything. So yeah, there's a few guys out there still that utilize that water from the dam. So.
I got an email about 624 that it was in poor shape. Are we out there on that?
I can take a look. We usually touch that one up once every week or two, so it doesn't usually go too long before we're back on it.
Grader's on there.
It is.
Yeah, I came down. Yeah, Mark was doing the shingle area first, and then he was going to be heading down. So yeah, it's
good.
perfect weather for it now. So it's got enough moisture that you can do something with it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we generally pick up the garbage and stuff that's in the ditches, like our ditches?
Yeah, we.
That toilet picked up? That on the 624? It's been there for about 2 months, I bet. At least 2 months. Just wouldn't want a mower or something to hit that, hey? But it's been there, a couple of months, I bet you. On the west side, the first 2 miles. Yeah.
We'll just want to make sure it's not in use first.
Yeah. Other questions for Clark on the report?
Come on. There's a few potholes left. He said most of the crack filling is finished. There's a few left on Jackson and Park Meadows Road that they missed. Is there some cold mix or something they can throw in that before winter comes?
I'll have them go and take a look and see what we can do if we need to seal them up before winter.
I believe there's 5 or 6 of them. Okay.
Any other questions for Clark on the report?
Just on the grader engine, Clark, are they just rebuilding that one, or is that going to be the new one?
That'll be the new long block, yeah. Yeah, and we are going to be getting a warranty on it as well once it's done.
I also had just remembered about that culvert that the Hutterites wanted to install. Have you guys went out to look at that?
I haven't been notified about anything. Yeah, it's been a while since that was going on.
Yeah, because he had talked to you.
Yeah.
And was that culvert going in the road right away, or was it private property?
It's on a road. It's a dirt road, obviously, and
it's not a through road either. They were gonna do it at their expense, but you guys were going to go and just take a look at it.
Yeah, they would have to get permitting done, usually through WSA, and then we'd be notified for the construction. I'll follow up on that.
Sorry, I had my mic on. Just a question in terms of the timing for the grader fix. How's that going to, do we need to rent something in the meantime?
No, not with with our labor force right now and the requirement to get our mowing done, we have 2 operators in the mower, so that really only leaves 3 operators in the graders anyways. So yeah, it wouldn't buy us anything. But we do have a new full-time operator starting. Yeah, so that'll be good too.
Any other questions for Clark? Okay, looking for a motion to accept the Public Works report as presented. Nicole,
That we accept the Public Works report as presented.
thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
Thank you. We'll move on to the water report. So you'll notice there was one water main break noted. It was actually on the service connection line in Aspen Village, on Aspen Village Drive. So that was repaired. The road had to be dug up and excavated as well. So there's a chunk that's just being left as gravel for this year, and we'll repair with pavement for next year. Other than that, no upset conditions.
Motion to accept the water report as presented. Darren,
Motion to accept the water report as presented.
thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
Okay, I have a report prepared for the Balgony water line. So as part of this project, WSA requires us to provide official approval that Balgony can have their infrastructure asset within our road right of way. So this motion is just to approve of the construction of their irrigation water line within the RM's road right of ways.
Motion so we can discuss further. Stephen,
That the RM approve the installation of the town of Balgony's raw water line within the municipal road right of way at the following locations: Township Road 182 north of 81717 west of the second, Range Road 2174 east of 81717 west of the second, and that the RM acknowledges the town of Balgony's authority to operate and maintain the water line within the municipal road right of way.
thank you. I noticed in the report there that the Balgony is going to be responsible for all ongoing maintenance and stuff. Is that after the warranty period is done for the work?
That's right. Yeah, contract will be they'll operate as soon as it's as soon as it's commissioned. Any deficiencies we find within the warranty period, the contract will be required to fix. But following that, it's their infrastructure and their line, so that it's theirs to own, operate, and maintain.
So we have no risk with it.
No, the only risk is it's in our road right of way. So it would be a requirement of them, if they do have to excavate, that they restore their road right of way to its pre-construction condition.
Perfect. Other questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
The next report is related to the Royal Park Lift Station operational agreement. So now that Prairie View Business Park is tied into the municipal collection system, those lots which are within the RM now are directly connected to the Royal Park Lift Station. So as such, the RM has contributing flows to a lift station that has operational costs. So we've been discussing this with the town of White City for a couple months, coming up to an agreement on how that's going to be handled moving forward, the roles and responsibilities of who operates and maintains it, who provides financial contributions for the cost of the operation and maintenance. And so the draft report is what the two administrations have come to agreement on.
For a motion so we can discuss further. Karen,
That the RM Council authorize administration to enter into an operational maintenance agreement with the town of White City for the Royal Park Lift Station.
are any of those businesses on wells, or are they all hooked up to our water?
They're all hooked up to water in Prairie View. Yep.
I looked at their report and I'd like it explained. It mentioned something about the water. It's our water, not theirs. So they're going to be assessed on the water usage from us.
Yeah, so we're going to use the water meter data from both the properties that are connected from the RM and the properties that are connected from the town to determine what the proportional share of the operational costs are of the lift station.
Okay. So as time moves on and development gets there, that will all be taken into account. It'll all go to that same lift
That's
station.
right.
Yeah, every new connected lot would then be in the database for what's being measured. We did take a look at metering the sewer. It was just more expensive to put the meters in and have them monitored than it was to operate the lift station itself.
Okay. Next move was as time moves ahead, the all that's going into the Betteridge lift station right now. Was there anything done about updating the Betteridge lift station as time goes on? Or is White City still going to put that line along the railroad track to expand theirs?
Yeah, I don't think there's been any change in the long-term infrastructure planning. In terms of the Betteridge Road lift station, again, that's the authority's asset, so we defer to them to manage that. If it gets to capacity, they should let all parties know that it can't accept any more sewage and direct the Royal Park lift station to then, go forward with that force main. But there's been no change in how that's kind of contemplated when we drafted this agreement.
Has the wastewater seen this agreement? Wastewater Authority?
Nope, not yet. This is just going to this council and then White City Council. I'm not even sure if it goes maybe at their next meeting.
Okay, thank you. That's all that.
However, sorry, I'm just going to add, when these developments were approved, there would have been allocation provided to them. So there was always a wastewater solution for this waste to go through the Betteridge lift station. It was either the developer had to build their own lift station within the RM or connect to another lift station. So I'm assuming that the wastewater authority is aware of this from a capacity perspective.
Yes, the allocation's already been paid, and so Prairie View Business Park, each and every one of those lots, they've already provided their allocation fees to the authority, and they've accepted it and paid both municipalities back. So that whole process is, it's a few years old already, but yeah.
I know that's been done because that's been done for quite some time and they've been using a pump and dump situation. But as it expands, we're looking at there's lots of other development that was going to go through that lift station is what I'm getting at. Is it been accounted for when it goes to the Royal Park one and then from there on?
I don't know what allocation was provided beyond the Prairie View Business Park being approved, and I'm not sure how many lots Royal Park has for allocation, but anything over and above what allocation has been approved, that will have to be considered by the wastewater authority and potentially upgrades at that time for capacity.
Yeah, what they applied for was just a temporary because they were going to expand their lift station. That's why I asked if that was taken into account. That's all.
Other questions on the motion? Okay, all in favor? Motion is carried.
Check. Oh, it's on, but it's red, you guys. We'll have to get batteries at our next break, I think. I'll go through this quick. The next one. No. Next report is just for the RM to opt into the Ministry of Highways Winter Weights program. So this is something that we've typically done over the years. It allows the transportation industry to haul higher weights on their trucks, about 15 to 20% higher. So can opt in, opt out at any time, again, similar to spring road bans. And a new order hasn't dropped yet, so we don't know the exact dates of when it would be enacted. We're just getting this in place so that when it is when the new order is dropped, we can just become a part of it.
Looking for motions we can discuss further. Paul?
That the RM participate in the Ministry of Highways 2025-2026 Winter Weight Program and direct the administration to notify Road Data Services Limited.
Thank you. Discussions on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, Paige. Oh, do you want to take a quick break and get some batteries? Motion to take a 10-minute break.
Motion to take a 10-minute break.
Thanks. All in favor? Motion is carried.
So the first report here is for a subdivision application for the Northwest 36-1818, which is bylaw 2025-21. This application is for a subdivision of proposed parcel A, which is 22 acres in size, and they are rezoning from AR agricultural resource to CR1 country residential 1. And we're looking for first reading on this bylaw.
Do the motion, I mean. The bylaw number 2025-21 being a bylaw to amend the bylaw number 2019-20 known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning parcel A Northwest 361818 west of the second from AR to agricultural resource to CR1 country residential 1 be given first reading. That's it, right? Further to? Okay. And further, that we authorize the planning department to proceed with the public notification requirements and scheduled a public hearing.
Thanks, Tim. Questions on the motion? Okay, all in favor? Motion is carried.
Thank you. The second report is for a subdivision application from LS 14-8-1717, which is bylaw 2025-22. This is a subdivision application for a proposed parcel A, which is 10 acres in size. Again, we are rezoning the parcel from AR agricultural resource to CR1 country residential district 1. Looking for first reading.
I can
Carmen.
do it. Excuse me. That bylaw number 2025-22 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-20, known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning parcel A, legal subdivision 14, southeast 8, 1717 west of the second from ag resource to country residential 1 be given first reading, and further that we authorize the planning department to proceed with the public notification requirements and schedule a public hearing.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? Was this the one that has the well on a different property?
Yes.
Okay, getting part of that right away will be part of the agreement?
Like we'll be getting an easement agreement for the well.
Pardon me?
It's not like it's the well for parcel A. Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll do an easement agreement that will be registered on title.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
Awesome. Just a note to council, with the postal strike and now the rotating strikes, we will be in communication with the applicant. We just need to meet our dates on public notification. So if the rotating strike's going to impact them, we might have to hold off on the advertising and scheduling the public hearing until we can confirm that the letters would get to the right people before the public hearing. So just keeping council in the loop if you hear from anyone about that.
Are you getting notified of where the rotating strikes are going to be happening then and stuff, or how is that working?
I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to touch base with the admin team, but I think we know there's going to be a delay. They're probably not going to be able to tell us how much of a delay, and that's the risk.
Okay. Did we take our vote on that? Yep. Okay. Down to RM business. Tax abatement missed 293 exemption.
Yep, so this report is for council to consider approving to reduce the 2025 property taxes for this roll number due to a missed 293 exemption during the assessment process. That exemption relates to the agricultural land assessment used to exempt a primary residential dwelling assessment. So during the 2025 reassessment, this ag exemption was partially missed. There was some exempted, but the landowner owns another parcel of land under a secondary name, and we didn't catch that. So the dwelling was incorrectly assessed. This oversight resulted in an overassessment and incorrect tax levy for 2025. The error affects both the municipal and school portions of the taxes. The total school tax abatement is under the 25,000, so we can adjust the education tax without getting provincial approval. The abatement results in a reduction of the municipal portion of $653.25 and the school portion of $669.35. For decision history in previous instances where assessment errors are identified, council has approved adjustments to the tax levy to reflect the corrected property assessment. And this property will be added to the SAMA maintenance list for the assessment to be corrected for 2026.
Looking for a motion so we can discuss further.
Do it. That we authorize administration as per clause 293, subsection 2, subsection E of the Municipalities Act to abate the tax levy for the following 2025 taxes. Roll number 560 LSD 15 Northeast 32 1717 west of the second, municipal taxes of $853.25, Prairie Valley School Division number 208, $669.35 for a total of $1,322.60.
Thank you. Discussions on the motion?
Just a question, Karen, in terms of, and I know you and I've talked about the 293s before. Do we basically auto renew the 293s until such time as somebody tells us different?
Yep, that's correct.
Other questions? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay. To score correspondence, there was the Pilot Butte Fire Department and the fire call of October 3rd. Any questions on that? Motion to accept the correspondence as presented. Nicole?
That the following correspondence be hereby acknowledged and filed. Pilot Butte Fire and Emerald Park Fire Department fire call, October 3rd, 2025.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. I didn't note any committee reports on the package that was sent out. Are there any chairs that have a report to put forward? No. Okay. I guess there isn't. Oh, all right.
I do have one thing.
Oh, sorry.
I do have one thing. Thanks for reminding me, Paige. At our last planning and development meeting, the hydrovac subject came up again. So we were sort of looking to have a discussion back to council about how we really want to proceed with it, whether we want to go planning and development to go ahead with the bylaw, or there was a ratepayer last meeting that spoke in regards to him using it. And when we had a discussion at planning and development, when we looked at that ratepayer who voiced concerns, the location where he is has got two sort of points against him, right? He's in a high water sensitivity area, and he's in the development overlay area. And we kind of thought we'd give that discretionary, that was the direction last meeting, discretionary use, but are we going against what we're trying to accomplish here? Because that one actually has got two high sensitive issues with it. So we thought we'd bring it back to council, have everybody talk about it and see what we wanted to do with it really.
For clarity, Karen, that particular ratepayer, what they've got there is a clay-lined pit. Do they not?
That's what he says.
That-
I don't know. That's very high water table there. Like,
Yeah.
I would venture to guess it might be 8 feet. Like,
But he did bring up a very good point with the Powder Butte Lagoons being just 1 mile away from him, and they're in that same sensitive area. I think the whole thought process for this bylaw was to give us some type of rules that they have to follow, and that we have a way to make sure that they're doing them. Where that other fellow that had bought that quarter of land, that's all he bought it for, was to be able to dump on it. Well, he hasn't dumped on it now this year, but that was the situations that we were trying to get away from, so that we had some kind of control on it. And I think that's where the bylaw would be good, because it is still discretionary use. And we can, if they have a good plan that they come up with, I think it would, it's something that's not going to go away. These vac trucks, it's a new way of doing excavation, and yeah, they're definitely not going to go away. So if we have a little bit of control on them, I think that's where we're going, because we actually went to environment, we went to whoever, and they just kind of threw up their hands and said, oh well, and they're self-regulated, and I didn't agree with that. Being self-regulated, at least we have some kind of control on them then, if we do have this bylaw in place.
but with us having, we identified the development overlay area as being prohibited. So if we go back to discretionary, we have to change all of that, right?
Yes.
Because you can't have discretionary in a prohibited area.
Well, you can, but if council's saying that it's prohibited in the development overlay, then you can't submit a discretionary.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The development overlay area, which was the last direction.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So,
or 2 directions ago.
Yeah.
Not the last one.
So we kind of have to clarify that, because we had identified nothing in the development overlay area.
Right. I will just let council know, I did receive a letter on Friday that was for the public hearing in September on this bylaw. It was just late getting here, more than likely because of the strike, but it was from another hydrovac company that has a site that is unpermitted within the development overlay area. And I will send this all to council so they have a copy of this letter. They do say in here that 40% of the hydrovac waste that they obtain is from areas within the development overlay in the arm of Edenwold, because they are the contractor for SaskTel. So if there's a new house that goes up or anything like that, that's who goes out. They also note that they've done some hydrovac services for the RM as well for culvert installation in the development overlay area. And then they just provide some facts as well. So I'll send this out to council. It's a really good letter from a ratepayer who runs this operation as well. But again, they were located in the development overlay area as well. And then I will also note that they reference the town of Balgonie's hydrovac dumping spot by the Flying J in here as well, who is also in the development overlay area, but outside of our jurisdiction.
So Paige, I'm going to ask, do you have what you need to proceed with the next steps of this bylaw? And can you just please provide council a bit of an update on what that process looks like? Because this will now be a new bylaw.
Yes, absolutely. So the direction that I'm hearing from council is to prepare development standards for the potential of a discretionary use application. I'm still unclear if we want that ability to apply under the development overlay or within the development overlay district or not. But moving forward now, we will have to prepare those development standards, which will take some time because there's no best practices within the province. So figuring out what works and what doesn't work for development standards will take some time. So once we are done that, we will take it back to committee and then back to council. But it will, like Shauna said, it will be a new bylaw that will have to be prepared.
Anyone else have some comments they would like to direct to Paige before she goes back and does the homework?
So is what we're saying that we basically want to leave it as discretionary everywhere? Is that what we're saying?
I think that's what we're saying.
I think that would be the smartest way that we could do it, just to have control on it. You know, by having a discretionary use, and then yeah, you can start that type of company, but this is going to be the guidelines that you have to follow and everything with it. So it's my thinking, anyways.
Well, what we can do is we can put a motion on the table for council so we can get a clear understanding of where council is standing on this. So we know what to do with this bylaw. So would somebody be willing to make a motion of what they believe they're directing us to do?
I can do it. Maybe with a little guidance from Karen. That we direct administration to review the draft zoning bylaws amendments for hydrovac to make it discretionary across the RM without designating specific areas. There's probably a shorter way to say that.
Yeah, maybe we can just say like if I'm understanding that council direct administration to prepare a zoning bylaw amendment making hydrovac dumping a discretionary use throughout the RM, but also to develop development standards for that discretionary use.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got a concern with the aquifer, like the high sensitive areas and this bylaw.
So do I.
Like in some places, like the water table is probably as high as where they're dumping, like in some of those pits. So,
But if we make it discretionary, we can have those discussions and say at that point, no, you can't put it here because of X, Y, and Z. Or maybe they do put it there, but it's with some very hard rules.
I thought we decided we weren't going to allow over sensitive aquifers, or no, we should.
But we prepared
yeah, this is
planning and development prepared a zoning bylaw amendment that would have made it prohibited within the development overlay area and then discretionary everywhere else. We did first reading, public hearing. We heard from an operator that operates within the development overlay saying, you know, pleading his case. And that's where council then was reconsidering the bylaw. So we're back to We just want to make sure that we are preparing something that meets the needs of council.
I personally don't think we should be dumping hydrovac on sensitive sensitive aquifers.
Further discussion?
I just want, oh, okay, we got it on the thing here, on the screen here, what was,
So just to help me, Paige, and to help the other counselors, when it says here discretionary use across the RM, we are still within our rights. If someone comes forward and says they want to put it over a high sensitive aquifer, we can still deny it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Not make your, like, wasn't one of the issues we talked about policing it and enforcing it?
Yes. And enforcement is always a challenge, and it's very difficult. This situation we know is happening unpermitted. So the question is that if we want to provide an opportunity for these applicants or these property owners to obtain a permit and have standards that we can put on the permit, or we start enforcement of unpermitted hydrovac dumping places. One or the other. Those are the two avenues in this situation.
The one concern I have with the discretionary use is that this applicant that came in, maybe he meets the standards that we have, but you're giving him a discretionary use in a overlay area and a high sensitivity area. It's pretty hard to deny the next one in the same area when you're allowing discretionary use in areas. It's you're setting a precedent once you first do that. So that's something to keep in mind.
You know, like the one, I think that he allows dumping there, Tim, was the one on 624 North, right? And I know that there had to have been something in that because they dumped up by the gate once. And I don't know, it was 3 or 4 years at least, and maybe even still now, nothing grew there. And he's saying that that's one that's legit and he's allowed now at his place. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but
yeah, I agree. Cause I drive past that just about every day, and yeah, it was, you know, they had dumped right by the gate and nothing grew there. And you know, I say with Thomas Santa Gravel is who the ratepayer was that came in, and you know, they're good sound people, and but again, I can see the because the aquifer is so close and everything too. I can go either way. But I think we had that's the whole way we looked at this is we wanted to have some kind of rules in place so that we can stop the ones that were just dumping everywhere. And that's what we're trying to accomplish. I don't know.
I think we can.
Go ahead.
I think we can accomplish that, but still having, you know, not over highly sensitive aquifers.
But you still haven't solved the problem for the ones that are dumping, like the one that came and pleaded their case. You don't know. So I think that's where you're coming from, Karen, is that how do we stop that? Because once you allow that one to exist, you're opening the gate. So it's discretionary use. Go back to your saying, well, how come he can and I can't? Well, you're on a sensitive area. Well, so are they. So you got to be very careful how you play that game. So it's either you do it or you don't, and end it real quick, because you can't say, well, this is my good friend, I'm going to let him do it, and council changes and they get upset about it and shut it off. So now's our time to make the rules stick or don't make it stick. That's just my opinion.
So if I were to amend this motion and prohibited in high sensitive, what's the right term, Paige?
High or extreme sensitivity on the aquifer.
So make it discretionary use across the RM except for the high and extreme aquifer sensitivity, make it prohibited in there. I don't have the right words.
So
But
just
it'll-
1 second. I think what so what we were looking for is if this was going to be a change in direction, we just wanted to make sure, council, you can vote on this motion, and if it's denied, we just go back to our original bylaw, received first reading and had a public hearing. We'll just bring back the bylaw for second and third reading, which the bylaw states that it is prohibited in high and extremely high sensitive areas, as well as prohibited within the development overlay area. So if you want something different than that, then.
But I think that's where it's, from what I'm hearing from the rest of council, it's the issue as far as the aquifer sensitivity. But if we were to take out the prohibited in the development overlay, that would be okay if we make it discretionary in the development overlay.
Okay, I'll get you to respond to that because I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. So you're saying allow it in the development overlay area if it's not over the sensitive, extreme or high sensitive aquifer, is what the direction is.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
discretionary in the development overlay area, except for when it's prohibited when there's high or extreme aquifer sensitivity. So that's the change.
If you're the maker of the motion, let's just reword that, and we don't have to do a formal motion to amend. So just make it that, oh, sorry, it's too fast.
Yes, I think that's, yeah, I think that's where, do you want me to read it out loud? Again?
Yep.
Okay. That council direct administration to prepare a draft zoning bylaw amendment to make hydrovac dumping a discretionary use across the RM except for being prohibited in high or extreme aquifer sensitivity areas, and further to prepare development standards for hydrovac dumping.
Thank you. Is everybody clear on the motion? Any more discussion?
So anyone that's doing that now would be shut down?
Okay, all in favor? Motion is carried. I think that's the longest committee report ever. Any other chairs for the committee reports? Okay. We're down to council roundtable. Darren, we'll start with you today.
I just got one thing that I think there should be a rule if somebody is sick that they shouldn't be sitting in council coughing and on everybody, infecting everybody.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Tim?
Yeah, the rule for coughing, I apologize, but I do get sick every once in a while. And I am having a mask on, so. Controlled burns. Last week, we had 2 issues around our area that they got out of control. One was the one north of me, about 8 miles. It basically destroyed about 40 hay bales and about 70 straw bales. The neighbor to the east of this fella had lit and was burning some straw bale or some flax straw, and it got away on him. I would like to see if we could maybe get Chief Dell to come in, and maybe we should be looking at some kind of a bylaw to have some parameters. The day that they were burning this, the wind was blowing like crazy, and one of my other ratepayers south of me, they were out in their garden, and people east of them, that he said it was starting to get dark out, and they could see the embers floating in the wind and everything, and was quite concerned with it too, because it had been about 5 weeks since we had any kind of rain or anything, and so it made it the threat of fire would be quite substantial. Um, Again, I know a lot of farmers, especially with flax straw and everything, that's how they deal with it. But because we've got so many acreage owners and stuff, and nobody makes fire guard anymore. So that's part of the problem. Years ago, all the farmers used to make fire guard and stuff, and I'm the same way. I don't make it anymore either. And it's one of these times we're going to have a real big fire, and it's going to go for miles and miles, and it's scary. This one north of me there, it actually got into an old road allowance that is basically a dead end, and that's how it jumped into the next field where they were hanging and stuff. So yeah, it's a challenge, and I think we should maybe try to get Chief Dell in and talk a little bit about maybe trying to see what his ideas are as far as doing some type of bylaw with regards to that.
Tim, did that ratepayer phone in a controlled burn?
Yeah, he phoned in a control burn, and then it got out of control, and then the homeowner whose bales burnt phoned it in and said it's out of control. So then actually I believe Pilot Butte, Emerald Park, Balgony, and Edenwold and White City all responded to it. It was big.
So when they phone in those controlled burns, who do they talk to?
PA dispatch. Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to think, if it was a windy day,
Yeah.
why weren't they advised?
Well, and that's
not
that. PA should have all that information of what the wind speed is and everything. And I think I guess if it's probably up to us to have the parameters of what we got to discuss. As far as when they phone in and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's too windy in your area, you can't burn." I think that's what we need to do.
So I would just recommend, I'll talk to Karen. This should be brought up at the Protective Services meeting, and we'll make sure that Chief Dell is there, just so we're capturing what the direction is, and then a bylaw or guidelines or whatever that looks like will be developed, and then it'll be brought to the committee and then to council. Kind of, is that okay? Okay.
Anything else, Tim? Stephen?
I just got a question. Clark, have you been out to 184 Creek Road? Looked at it yet?
No, not since Howard finished it up. I was planning on going out there this week. I just got notified.
Okay, no, it looks pretty good actually with what was done there. So
Okay.
Is Howard going to do the grass, or is that going to be up to the RM? Like for
Well, no, it won't be up to us. Well, I'll take a look at it and just see, because a lot of times when they're just using kind of that topsoil mixed into the dirt on the sides, the seed comes back anyways the next year. But that'll be part of their responsibility anyways. If it doesn't pop up, yeah.
Anything else, Steve? Karen?
Really, I had one ratepayer call concerned about dirt bikes heading south out of Pilot Butte past Mission. And it's young kids and so on and so forth, which is going to stop now because of the weather. But I did phone Ankit, and they were out there. Now, whether that improved the situation, I don't know. But the ratepayer was happy that the very next day they were out there sitting and watching. So that's on South 2183. So yeah, other than that, I don't have anything else.
Nicole? Stan?
Yes, just to report that with wastewater, commissioning is well underway, and by the end of the month, our Sager system should be up and running. That's about it.
That's the best news I had all week, Stan.
Just two things. Tim and I, we volunteered at the Fire Prevention Week with White City Fire Department there. And I think you got there at 3, I got there at 4. We went till 8-ish, something like that, making popcorn and candy floss. Blew the breaker. We've got to fix that. But Matthew was saying that there was, the official count was 414. So, and I think I can attest to the fact that we made a lot of popcorn and a lot of candy floss. Some kids were really jacked up on sugar. And so, yeah, that was good. They were most appreciative of it. And then the only other thing is, Clark, if you can get back to me on 2175. Thank you.
That's it? Okay. All right, before we move to in camera, we'll take a 10-minute break if somebody makes the motion. Nicole, all in favor? Motion is carried. Meeting back to order and looking for a motion to go in camera. Karen. Okay, Karen's made the motion to go into camera. All in favor? Motion is carried. Are we recording? Okay, thank you, Sarah. All right. Now we're looking for a date for the
Special council meeting.
special council meeting to discuss or make a decision on Greensview.
Can we get a motion saying that we're going back into regular council meeting?
Tim made the motion. Yeah. And what date?
29th of October is 6:30.
6:30 at the fire hall.
I
no,
think
no.
Or sorry, here.
council.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
here.
we'll just do it in council.
And that will be for the discretionary use application.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll put the.
For the Greensview, yeah.
Discussion on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. You'll send out an invite, obviously.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that's it, Shauna?
That's everything.
That's everything unless somebody has something else to say? Stephen,
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
all in favor? Motion is carried.